Hi, welcome to Rooted Hearts Homestead. My name's Kim, and this is our life.
Adjust you guys a little bit so you're not looking up my nose. This morning I've got my bone broth and well, it's story time. So May holds a lot of very important things for us. One of the things is it holds birthdays, Mother's Day, but it's also foster care month and a foster care awareness month. And I decided I'd tell you guys the story of how foster care touched our lives and changed our family completely. My husband and I got married really young. I mean, like, really young. I was 18. He was 23. And we thought we could take on the world. Quite honestly. A couple years later, I was pregnant with our second child. And we realized that birthing children was not going to be a good plan for us. My body just would not handle it. I mean, I could do it, but as my husband said, I'd rather have a wife than kids. So in the thought process of a 26 and 21-year-old, we were like, oh, well, we can just adopt. Neither one of us is particular to having biological children. It doesn't bother us to bring in kids that need a home. So we'll do that. Let's wait 5 years and we'll start looking at it. 5 years pass, almost. It was probably 4.5 years. And I start looking into adoption, knowing that I would love to have a big family. Both my husband and I came from larger families, and I loved having siblings and just that big family nest that happens when you have a lot of kids. It's just, for me, it was magical. It is not everyone's cup of tea, I know, but for me, I loved it. I thought it was amazing, and I already knew that my calling was kids. Like, I know that's what God has called me to. I started looking into adoption and what it would take, and realized that for a domestic infant adoption, because both my husband and I had decided that we wanted to go with domestic adoption. We did not want to look into international adoption. It wasn't something that either one of us were feeling particularly called to. So for a domestic adoption, it was $30,000. $30,000. I was feeling extremely defeated. I'll be honest. I had no clue that it was that expensive to adopt a kid. In my mind, I'm like, there's kids who need homes, and why is it so expensive to adopt a kid? That's when a friend told me about foster care and adoption through foster care. This friend was really amazing and explained how the system works, what happens, and what we need to do. So I came home, told my husband, what about foster care? It would fulfill two callings for me and increase our family size, which were three things that we were looking at doing at the time. One, for me, it would fulfill my calling of working with kids in need. I love working with kids. It is something that I have loved doing from a very young age. I always thought I would run an orphanage. Little did I know that I would just be having a home full of kids. The second thing that it did was it increased our family size. That was something that I really wanted to do. We only had 2 kids at the time, and I just knew we weren't done. Like we had more love to give and more people that were supposed to be a part of our family. And 3, it gave me purpose. I was just a stay-at-home mom at the time that was teaching some piano lessons. And so my purpose was to take care of my own kids, and I thought, why not add one more? That makes total sense. So we got started on the journey. We went through the DHHS. In Michigan, there's multiple things you can do with as far as adoption goes. If you're looking to just adopt, you kind of have to go through a private agency. The state agency does not actually do adoptions. They just do foster care and reunification. So we looked at private agencies, we looked at state agencies, we learned for our area what is best, and it's completely a fascinating thing. And if you want to know more about that piece of it, I will tell you. For this story, I'm just going to tell you how foster care touched our family. Foster care's first goal is reunification. Foster care's second goal is permanency. For any child, doesn't matter their age. Foster care was not something that was on my radar at all. Everything I knew of foster care was actually from my parents' personal experience, and they didn't have a long-term good experience with foster care. They tried to adopt a couple times, and both times other family had shown up and the kids had not become adoptable. It was really hard seeing my parents talk about those things. It was before I was born, so I don't remember any of it, but I could see the pain on their faces, so I'd never thought foster care was a possible option for us for growing our family. Again, we knew we wanted to grow our family, we just didn't know how to do it. So when I looked into foster care in 2016, it was this could work, but I don't know. And then I talked with someone, and they explained to me the whole entire process. And I don't even remember. It was someone from one of the agencies, and I don't even remember who it was. But I was so thankful to them because they walked me step by step through, what are you wanting to do? What's the real goal here? And can you mentally give back a child and still continue going? Foster care's goal is reunification. Because of that, it is drilled into you whenever you're doing any of the trainings, whenever you're meeting with anybody. The goal is reunification, the goal is reunification, the goal is reunification. These kids are going back to their parents. You are a temporary home. And it is so true. After researching all of the options we had for adoption and or expansion of our family through foster care, I talked with Joseph and I'm like, this is it. Like, I have felt a calling for kids for years. Since I was 10, I knew that my calling on my life was kids. I initially thought it was opening an orphanage in Mexico, but turns out it was actually doing foster care out of my home. So in 2017, we got licensed and we took in our first placement. I went into it with shining bright eyes, thinking that, glitter, sunshine, rainbows, all the things. that first parent visit was a doozy. I had read up on so many things, being very open with parents and welcoming, realizing that these people are scared, the kids are scared, everyone's in a bad place, and they need to get into a good place to be able to get this kid home. Well, that first visit was one for the books. I left there shaking and feeling scared for my current situation and what was going to happen. I had no idea. Nobody should have to go through that as their first visit. First visit should be calm and respectful, and this was not. It was absolutely crazy. And we've had 11 kids in and out of our home, and they ranged in ages from 2 days old, straight from the hospital, to 8 years old, going on 9. The longest that we had a placement was actually our dear Steve and Charlie. They stayed in our home for 999 days, and then they were adopted February of this year. This month, we're actually going to celebrate their adoption with friends and family here at the homestead. I am so excited about it. We waited for almost 9 years to be able to add to our family. But I don't feel like our story ends with just getting our 2 kids. The awareness is still needed to be spoken about. There are kids of every age waiting for families. Waiting for families to say, yeah, we can add one more to our household. Waiting for families to say, how can I support this foster family in my community? Waiting for families to say, DHHS, Bethany Christian Services, Arbor Circle, Catholic Charities, what can we do to support your foster families and make these placements good? It is exhausting to be a foster parent. For 4 years, we had kids in and out of our home all the time. The shortest anyone stayed was 3 weeks. The longest anyone stayed was almost 3 years. Most of the time, it was between a month and 6 months. Kids come into care with all sorts of needs, all sorts of problems, all sorts of conditions, all sorts of ages. There is such a huge need. I was just reading the other day that in Texas, especially, they are needing foster parents to just be willing to take in kids. And I know in Michigan right now, there's a huge need for families being willing to have kids in their home that are over the age of 9. So if you're interested in doing foster care or interested in supporting a foster parent, write a message. Say, hey, how do I do it? How do I help someone that I don't even know where to begin? I didn't either. I had no idea. I had no idea what it was going to be like. And come to find out, it was hard and extremely rewarding. I'm not a saint for doing it. I am not amazing for being able to give back babies. I just know that these kids needed a home. They needed somewhere that was safe. Well, their parents figured out how to be safe for them. It's not glitter and rainbows and all the happy things. It's hard work. It's a job. But it is so needed and so necessary. Our family's story took time. It was something that I was not prepared for the long haul. And even now, my husband and I have said, I don't know that we could do that again. It was so long and so hard. There were so many tears of just utter frustration and desire for people to do better. We go into this wanting to support these parents that have had their kids taken away, and it's awful. It's horrible for these parents. They need support. It's hard to see that. It's very hard. But what I would encourage you to do is go to your church, ask your local agency, ask your state agency, figure out how you can help this month and how you can be a blessing to those foster parents. A meal, folding some laundry, coming in and cleaning the house, giving them a gift card to Walmart or Costco or wherever. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just showing that you're there and you see what these foster families are doing and going through. Foster care touched our family in such a huge, impactful way. I can never go back to what I knew before. Honestly, I don't know how I can ever unsee what I saw. There were some really scary moments. I was not sure that our family would ever be the same afterwards. And there were some really amazing, glorious, wonderful moments of kids that broke free from hurt and pain, even just for a moment, and learned the differences between families and that there was something else out there for them. I know that our story's just begun, but I encourage you to look into foster care and see maybe if your story could begin. Anyway, that's the end of this story time. Foster care is amazing and hard and beautiful and broken and causes many tears and frustrations. But it's so beautiful and so incredibly needed. There is such a need for parents. And if you are in Michigan right now and you want to talk about starting a journey and adding kids to your family through foster care, contact me. Go message me over on my Instagram, and I'd be more than happy to talk with you about it.